Hey everyone, welcome to This Week with Bob and Chris. And we are getting into a holiday weekend. We're going to keep it light. I don't want, there's definitely stuff going on every day. And I had an adventure yesterday. I became the first person in the neighborhood to get FiOS internet, and took them all day. And probably six or seven trucks of people came in and out during the day, Chris. And finally, the 9 o'clock install finally worked at I think it was 4:45.
Imagine how much that cost them for you to pay for your probably rather cheap files compared to like other providers.
Oh yeah, and it was crazy. A couple times I look out the door and there's somebody. There was two different bucket trucks that showed up
Yeah,
during the day, and whenever the bucket truck showed up, there was a car behind it just parked. The guy never got out of the car. Yeah,
I'm just jealous because I wish I had that kind of bandwidth at my house or my office for that matter, but I can't get either without. I think I'd
yeah.
have to
Well,
mortgage somebody else's child or house or something to get files or to get fiber here because I can only get enterprise fiber, which means 100
big
meg
bucks.
is like 100 meg is like $1,000 a month or something like that. It's like craziness. It's like it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, we're definitely on the bleeding edge because it did take all day, and they've been teasing us for the past 3 months with trucks in the neighborhood running fiber because we've had cable TV service all along, but now
Yeah.
they put fiber in. We moved it over, and like I said, it's working. And it took some time for them to work out the kinks, but we're good, and we'll see where it goes. And I can
Well,
kill the 18-month worth of bad cable service that I've had that's been affecting video calls and all the time.
I was gonna say you get it. You should get a nicer camera, like a 4K camera. You can just broadcast in 4K. You shouldn't have any problems.
And there you
That,
go.
that 1 gig symmetrical, man. You should look crisp, and you should never have any problems. Your cloud connections should be magnificent. You
There
know,
we go.
did they hang the fiber? It's not buried, right? It's hung from a pole.
Yeah, it's on the pole.
Oh, that's the only downside. So somebody decides to hit a pole or wind
All of
tree.
our services in New Jersey are on the pole.
Oh, well, okay, makes
It's
sense.
not like it's not like you go to California where everything's buried and you don't see anything.
Alaska too, but they have to in Alaska because the freezing rain would just take the post and the poles down, the wires down. I think Maine does too. I think as you get up into like the far northeast, I think they bury cables too for that same reason. So well,
We'd have a lot less outages with power and other stuff if it was buried, but
yep.
it is
It's
what it
also more
is.
expensive to repair. So somebody doesn't call dig or whatever in your state pick one. They blast through a cable line or a fiber line. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had that kind of bandwidth. I wish I had that kind of data because I do videos now every week, and uploading them sometimes can be a little bit of a chore because I'm still running on ancient cable. So
So there's a lot of businesses that could be much better with faster bandwidth because they still have all these servers and stuff sitting in their offices.
yeah,
And we were talking a little earlier that we're still finding people with servers on site and moving them into Microsoft Azure or other cloud providers. And with the faster bandwidth, you don't even need it once we move once these machines off site, unless we're doing the video streaming like you were talking about.
yeah, I think that's one of probably the biggest challenges I saw through the last couple of years is just people moving like switching to a remote work or work from home when they had to, obviously because of COVID and things like that. Cable connections that only have like let's say 20 megabits per second up, that doesn't support very many users. And when you have businesses that have 30, 50, 100 people trying to work over that, when you're in the office and you're getting that full download speed, cool, you're not sending that much data. When you're trying to connect into servers on site over that, it's brutal. It's we got so many tickets from people saying they're having connection problems, files were
Yep.
slow, and it's like around us, we don't have a lot of options. Like we don't have for whatever reason, we don't have files as an option for a lot of people. Some locations can get AT&T around us has a small business version of fiber, but it's very limited on availability. So, like you said, we start moving those servers from on site, and we start moving you into the cloud. If you really do need a server, that's something to determine too. It's night and day for remote workers. It's night and day performance because the bandwidth isn't a problem.
Right. And,
So
then we don't have to worry about the redundancy pieces either
yeah,
because the data center's got it covered.
yeah. On site, we like to still do redundant. Like just if they are going to have people on site, just we like to have redundant internet connections that we can just load balance. That way, if one does go down, obviously two different providers if we can. If one goes down, we can keep you running. But some places will choose not to. They'll choose like, no, we don't need it. Unfortunately, what happens is then their internet goes out for 3 days and suddenly they need it. So there's that. That's always fun. That's a fun conversation to have with people. You don't want to do that. I told you so. I'd rather not go down that road because that usually doesn't end well for us.
Yeah, that doesn't end well.
Sometimes you have to say, I told you so. We're playing around with Verizon 5G. We have a little cube. It's like, I don't know, it's hard to tell how big it is. That's our backup at our office, actually. We get, I don't know, 100 megabits down, 10 megs up for $70 a month, something like that. Just fails over. It's enough for us to work and remote in if we need to, if our cable goes down. So
Yeah,
it's been a good option for us anyway.
One of the local cable companies, I think Comcast is doing it now. They actually have a 5G option, a 5G Verizon option that they'll layer right on top of it it's cheap. It's like another $30 a month. It's got its downs.
Does it work through a firewall though? Like if you have a firewall behind it?
You can have a firewall behind it because it starts natting some traffic for you.
Oh,
And
okay. That's good.
but you lose your statics. You lose your static IPs when you do that. But at least you've got connectivity and you can get out.
Yeah.
And the prospect I was with last week, he's like, "Oh yeah, we have Comcast with the backup. However, when it failed over, I couldn't get into my stuff." Well, he assumed the statics were working. They never went through that exercise and tested it for him to realize that his static IPs don't work, which it is what it is.
You mean for somebody paying $200 a month for a cable connection, they're not going to do some fancy BGP and like just carry their statics over to like a Verizon connection? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Bob? I guess if you paid $2,000, it'd be a different story. Then they might do it. Maybe.
So this week, I'm going to be sending out an email this week about the holiday weekend. Last holiday weekend was not was not a fun event for a lot of people. There was it was the Kaseya thing, the Kaseya breach from last year, which affected a lot of people. We don't need a repeat of that.
I was on a boat fishing when I got the messages that was happening, and my team was like, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "We're gonna deal with it."
So, pull the plug.
Yeah, the plug was pulled and stuff like that. And luckily for us, we had some secondary solutions already in place at most of our clients, so that just in case like something like that did happen, we were able to move over to it. So, but it's still stressful. Stressful for a few weeks because Kaseya was down for, what was it, like 2 or 3 weeks? It was longer than that. Might have been a month. It was closer to a month.
I don't think it was a month. I think it was like 2 weeks.
It might have been 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So
it's not like the 365 data center guys that we were talking about last week that were down for 2 months.
Yeah. 2 months would be a problem. But it goes back to contingencies. We've talked about having 2 internets, like when you're cloud based, especially considering most of the stuff that we do is actually in the cloud. So we don't keep stuff on premise for us. We do most things either in data centers or in Azure or the cloud. So it's important to have contingencies.
I think our guys were pretty good about shutting down Kaseya quickly when this happened, and it was painful, but we had other ways to support the clients, and everybody worked. So that was a breach that wasn't necessarily from an end user. It might have been, I don't know, but this weekend, it's going to, the bad guys have a whole weekend to try and attack your bank accounts and or email. So be diligent. People need to be diligent about what they're opening, and think.
Well, not just that. Pay attention too, because a lot of times you'll get those alerts when something is happening. Hopefully, you've set up alerts on a lot of your accounts, and if something does get alerted, make sure you try to take care of it as soon as possible. Don't let it linger, especially if
Yeah,
it's
hey Chris, I was on a call yesterday. I think you might have been on it too.
yeah.
Somebody was doing a risk assessment for a business,
Oh,
and and one of the things we do on the risk assessment is look for vulnerable passwords, and they found several hundred passwords for one user for accounts that were all the same, including his bank accounts.
was it something like it was something simple too? It was like a hobby plus a number, something like
It
that.
was a hobby plus a number. That's right.
Yeah.
So no two-factor authentication, no nothing, just a hobby and a number. Which okay, the bad guys can read a number and increment it just as easy as you can.
Not just that, a lot of attacks now are using wordless. So if it's a hobby that's a common hobby, it's already going to be in a wordless, so it's going to be hit even faster.
Yeah.
So
So
it's kind of a bigger problem on our hands. But yeah, be diligent this weekend. Um, if you really want to, if you're not going to be using your computers for the weekend, you're in an office, just turn them off. No
you can
need
do
to leave
that.
it running. No need to leave it running. So just in case that reduces your attack surface area, at least in your office. Now your server, whether you want to turn that off or not, that's up to you. But it's something to think about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I actually advise some people just to leave it on, because I'd rather know what's going on. Because if I see a bunch of servers offline, we're gonna have other alerts going off.
well, that
So
too. Yeah.
that's what we're doing. Anyway, any plans for the weekend?
Go fishing. Hopefully I don't get
Go
that call again.
go fishing? Yeah, right. Take that crazy dog out and
No, we can't bring the dog this time. For everybody out there, I have a cat. My wife and I adopted a cattle dog, a Australian cattle dog 4 months ago, and he's an absolute nut job. So, no, I have a family thing I gotta go to, so we have to put him up for a couple days in a pet hotel.
oh no.
Yeah,
Well, you'll get the doggy daycare videos and watch. You'll be able to watch them, and
yeah, he's his own little sweet. I mean, he's treated like a king apparently there. So, kind of jealous, honestly. Like I've like if you go camping, his accommodations would be better than that. So, but yeah, no, just chill, relax, and hopefully don't get a call when I'm on a boat that we're having some sort of major cyber attack worldwide that's affecting IT providers or our customers or anything like that.
yep, cool. Well, that's all I got for this week,
Yeah.
and
We
see if
yeah,
okay.
let us know if you guys want us to talk about something specific. If you have any questions, could be about moving to the cloud, could be I don't know anything cybersecurity related, like for next week. But obviously next week could be a light week for a lot of people too, with it being a 4-day week. So we'll keep it light and fresh. We'll get back to serious later.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, have a good week, guys, and enjoy the holiday.